Hi, my name is Fennell Belfort, and today is the 25th. So today we're going to be talking about the different anatomy of the kidney, for this chapter being the urinary system. On Blackboard, it had displayed that we're supposed to do a dissection on the sheep's kidney, but in fact, we actually received a pig's kidney. So this is really a dissection of a pig's kidney, which is essentially the same thing. So we're just going to be talking about a different anatomy. So as I'm talking, hopefully you'll be able to see. So the tougher, dense outer part over here, that's the renal cortex. On the inner part, you have the renal medulla. These are your renal columns. And then right in here, you have the renal pyramids. Right over here, these are like the fatty deposit of the renal sinus. That's going to be right over here. Over here, we have the minor calyx. Minor calyx, right above it is the one slightly bigger. That's the major calyx. Those components being part of the draining system. Well, I'll get that in a second. Let me also mention the other two components. It wanted the superior portion of the ureter. So if I go in here and I literally press my hand going straight through this structure right over here, it leads to this outer part right over here. So it's covered by fat, so I didn't get a chance to rip it apart, but that's essentially your ureter right over here, when the superior part specifically. So your ureter being the part of the urine drainage. So you're going from minor calyx to major calyx to the renal pelvis to the ureter, eventually draining to the urinary bladder. So that's all the different components of the urine basically. So that's the superior portion of the ureter. I believe they also wanted the hilum. The hilum is going to be right over here. That's the little indentation right over here. That's your hilum essentially. So you have your superior portion of the ureter over here. Just to make sure I covered all my bases. The renal sinus. The renal pelvis. Renal pelvis being right in here. So this is going to be the fat deposit of the renal sinus, and then your renal pelvis is over here. So just one more time, just to reiterate, just in case I'm constantly talking. As I'm talking, it's kind of hard to rotate this, but your cortex is right over here. The softer portion, more anterior to it, is going to be the renal medulla. These are your renal columns, and then right in here you have the renal pyramids. Over here, kind of hard to turn this. The little indentation outside is your hilum right over here. This essentially is going to be your ureter, where the urine gets excreted. Over here you have the minor calyx, the little smaller one right over here, and then slightly bigger is going to be your major calyx. I believe as far as all the major ones, those were all the major components that they want us to go over. Like I said before, the different components as far as the draining system goes, it goes from minor calyx to major calyx to the renal pelvis to the ureter, and then eventually to the urinary bladder. So that's all the components of how the draining system gets drained. They didn't really want us to go into detail with that, but just so you can have an idea of how all these different structures and components, what role they play. I could have talked about them individually, but essentially they are all part of the urine system.